Value proposition has remained the same throughout. We're on a mission, and we've been on that same mission since the beginning, which is to make learning very accessible.
So we're about to go into Perlego's office. I know them from 6 months back when we did a podcast episode with them. And with the launch of Startups of London, I thought it was a good idea to come meet them face to face, see their office, see what their culture is like, and hear about what's been going on with their business. So here we are in Holborn at Waterhouse Square, and we're about to go right in and meet with them. See you inside. Hello, Matt. Thank you for inviting us to your office.
It's a pleasure.
It's so good to be here. Honestly, I do love this office. I mean, the architecture, and people will see that shortly in the video, is such a beautiful office. I'll let you tell us about the business, your role within the company, and then we'll move on to talk about your growth journey and the rest of that.
Sure thing. So I'm Matt. I'm the co-founder and CTO. Goche and I co-founded the company back in 2016 with the intention of making learning accessible to everyone, and we do that by offering a service, an online library with over, I think, almost 300,000 ebooks now.
Wow. Textbooks,
and we offer that for the price of for less than the price of a single book, like £12 a month for students. And we have some really big publishers such as Pearson, Cengage, Oxford University Press, and Wiley.
The conversation we had, I remember what you mentioned, it's got Spotify for books type of a business model, which makes a lot of sense. So can you tell about your ideal types of users, customers, and what is the core problems that you're addressing for them?
Sure. Well, our target market at the moment are students. So in the UK and the US we have 40 million, and worldwide there are 200 million. And at the moment we only actually offer our services in the UK and in Europe. And we offer the sort of core reading textbooks for a vast majority of the subjects, mainly at the moment in business and in some of the sciencey subjects as well. We also offer our service to B2B clients as well, so we try and sell bulk accounts to organizations that will find the service helpful for their employees, and promote sort of learning internally as well. And some of the challenges that we've had, I suppose, with our product has been, mainly in the early days, it's choosing whether or not to build features that are more tailored to our students or more for our professionals, because they learn and they study in different ways fundamentally. But now we have a very large tech team. We've been able to actually develop quite a few features that address these sorts of problems for both.
That's quite interesting. Can you tell us more about that? What's your observation of how customer data showing in terms of the working styles or learning styles of different people, like students versus professionals? I would be personally curious to learn about that.
Right. Well, for students, they stick mainly to their core reading materials and things that are related. They tend to create more highlights and annotations and things that they will use for actual for their essays and so on. We also have a tool that allows people to export the citation material, so they can really put it directly into their essays, which makes their lives a lot easier. Whereas B2B professionals, or like independent learners, they'll read a bit of everything. We've noticed some interesting trends, like like people who might be reading business. They read more books in like more of the creative subjects, like the arts, and we found sort of some interesting trends between the different sort of subjects that people are interested in.
Each business has its own set of challenges and iterations that it has to work through, and there are some differing opinions on this. So a school of thought says A startup has to go through some pivots, even some morphs as it evolves. But my experience, and especially interviewing founders such as yourself, especially in London, shows that that's not always the case.
Right. Well, our value proposition has remained the same since we started. Touching back onto the split between the fact that we target B2C users and B2B users at the same time, I think there are a few iterations getting the product to sort of fit both of these as well as we possibly could, and sort of minor iterations in sales in the way that we target clients, in the way that or in marketing, the way in which we message and market the platform to people. But yeah, I would say that the value proposition has remained the same throughout. We're on a mission, and we've been on that same mission since the beginning, which is to make learning very accessible. And with what we have and the amount of content that we've got, it's not likely to change too much, that value proposition.
Okay, can you tell us about the growth journey in terms of the funding you've received? You don't need to go into all of the details, but just to see a broad perspective view of how that contribute to the growth and essential success of the company.
Yeah, so our initial seed round back in 2016 was mainly from angel investors. We had enough to basically get an office here in London and start with a few core hires. We managed to grow the team quite a lot over the last 3 years, and that's again obviously thanks to the funding that we received. Last year, a year and a half ago, I think we were about 10, and now we're 35 in total. We still have quite a few roles to fill, lots to build, and lots to do still, but things are moving forward quite well, and that's thanks as well to the funding. So we had another round of funding last year towards the end of summer, and that's basically what allowed us to grow the team quite a lot.
So I'm Roman Cerovic. I'm a software developer for the content team. So I'm a bit aside from the rest of the developers who work on the main platform in the e-reader and mobile app. I work with content processing and making sure everything's in place for the e-reader to display later on.
And how long have you been working with Perlego?
Nearly a year. So I started end of November last year.
Okay, fantastic. And how about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Mariana Ristizawan. I actually started as an intern in Perlego in March. I was interning in the B2B growth team, and my internship lasted 6 months, and now I'm a full-time employee. I'm in the development team as well, and we're currently working in international research and growth strategy. Yeah, so my first impression why I got here was really positive, because before I used to work in a big multinational, and I felt that people who worked there were just working because they needed a job. Here, what I like about Perlego is that since the beginning, I felt that everyone is passionate about what they do, and the work environment is always one where you are encouraged to work and develop, to learn and develop, but as well to just express yourself and take initiatives. I don't really think that these things have changed since the beginning to now. Of course, the company has significantly grown in the past 7 months. I started, we were, I think, 23, we're now almost 34. So with that, of course, maybe you get just, you cannot speak with that many people that much, but I feel that communication is still a very important part of our culture.
Fantastic. And what's been your experience seeing the company evolve and go through this change?
I think it's been handled quite well. It's obviously quite difficult because you get more like layers in terms of management, so you don't have the closest relationship with the highest management as we grow. But there's been some good adjustments that have been made, so you can just keep you can always talk directly to anyone you want. Everyone here is pretty friendly with each other. So
as the company grows more into the future, what do you think is one area of potential improvement for the business?
Do you want to answer that one first?
Well, I think that in general, the company has to be really careful in how people, like in the people management. I feel that many times when a company grows so fast, they might forget about how important people are. They're the core to the success of the company. So I feel that that's something I wouldn't say maybe to improve. I think every company should always keep improving their people management, always ensure that they are developing, that they're encouraged and motivated to do what they do, because otherwise they'll just decide to leave.
For people who have been here quite a while, if they want to take on a bit more, like allowing them to kind of step up and training them up to have those more important roles, because they feel like they have more of a connection with the company, seeing it grow from very early stages to big company status.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I agree with that, and I wish you all the best in the future growth of the business. You've got a wonderful team, you've got a wonderful space.
Cheers.
You've got a very good core product that solves a real problem, so everything looks in your favor, and I hope it goes on like that.
Thank you very much.
So how would you describe the company culture, and can you also tell about the evolution that is going through as you grow from a team of 10 people to 30 people and so on?
Well, we always made a point to invest quite a lot in our company culture from the beginning. Like when we were growing the team quite a lot, we knew how important it was to make sure that everyone enjoyed working here. And I think it's quite easy for all of us to be quite passionate about what we do. We're all sort of on the same mission.
I'd like to touch quickly on the management style, and with that, I was just having a conversation with one of the CEOs today, and there was this book on his table, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, a key book by Patrick Lencioni. And in that book, he talks about essentially vulnerability and being openness between different employees and the communication style. So how would you actually describe the management and communication style at the company?
We don't have a sort of culture where the managers really tell the employees what to do. I think it's very sort of collaborative, and interesting that you should touch on this point of vulnerability. I think it's very important for people to especially managers, to say when they don't know something, or when they or to make a mistake, and to learn from that, and to fail fast, as we say, and to learn from that, so that we can move forward. People are given quite a lot of autonomy and responsibility. Being a startup, it's important to be able to own things and take initiative, and we reward that quite a lot here. And it's not a sort of punitive type of style where if you do something bad, or if you fail in any way, then you're met with consequences. You're always
It's
encouraged.
about learning and experiencing it together and
Exactly.
failing fast. And yes, London, let's talk about London. How do you think that plays into this? What are the bests and worsts about building Perlego in a London-centered way, I would say?
Well, the reason why we chose London in the beginning is mainly because most of the academic publishers are based here in London. There are a lot of VCs here in London as well, so it's good for getting in investment. And the universities as well. There are plenty of universities in the UK, and we run ambassador campaigns here. So we actually go to campuses and set up stands where we tell students what we're all about. In terms of an actual place to work, plenty of shared office space, which is here where we work. Wonderful office, and people absolutely love working here.
So essentially building a business is about managing complexity and bringing different parts together. One part of that is people's complexity, of course. A key part of that is finding product market fit and actually being customer obsessed and solving problems for that. But there's also another part which is, I think, under-discussed and undervalued in some way, is finding the right tools, especially in terms of SaaS products, and bringing them together in the right way and combining them together to actually build the business. Are there any services, tools that you depend on as a business that are very core and central to your functioning?
Well, first of all, our cloud infrastructure. Everything's in AWS, which is something that's made the development of certain services a lot easier than it was, let's say, 15-20 years ago. In terms of the tools that help with data analytics, is something that we couldn't live without. We've experimented with quite a few different data analytics tools, things like Data Studio, Power BI, Chart Mogul as well.
So what was the second one?
Power BI.
Yeah.
Yep. All these tools that we use to make sure we have a clear understanding of what users do on the platform, and and help us understand if certain features are working well, or if there are things that we need to actually change from the UX perspective. In terms of the other tools and services that we use, Stripe is an important one that we use for handling all the payments, so we don't have to worry about processing card information, all that kind of stuff, which improves the security for users and takes a lot of stress away from us as well. So for the B2B marketing, obviously Salesforce, our CRM systems that we can use to target B2B clients quite in a structured way, and the different sort of services out there, like even just like the social channels that we can use to advertise and market the product direct to B2C students. That's been incredibly powerful for us.
Can you walk us through some of your key future milestones that you're looking ahead?
So our key milestones in the future, we're going to be expanding to the US market and eventually worldwide. We want to be building a product that people absolutely love. We're going to be developing tools that allow for students to collaborate with each other, things that will help them learn and study better as well. So we plan on making it possible to integrate sort of video and audio with our readers. We'll be offering textbook solutions as well, so making it possible for people to actually view all the solutions to the types of questions you might find in textbooks, and not only view them but actually understand how to get to the solutions and actually help as a learning resource as well. Plans for the future to grow to all the different markets that Perlego could be really successful in.
Looking very, very bright. With that, before we wrap this up, for potential people that might want to join in the company, for investors who might want to invest in the company, for people who might want to use Perlego, do you have any final messages to share with them?
Well, I mean, I hope you see our vision, our mission, and that we have the ability to take us there.
I think as Startups of London, we can contribute to that in some way, increasing your visibility. I think so. We try to make the best practice to focus on London-based startups, which are not actually only good in terms of numbers, but actually create things of value and push the world as the change engines of the world into a positive direction. And I think Perlego is definitely one of those companies. I personally root for your success. Thank you for taking this time and being a part of this episode.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for choosing Perlego to do this documentary for.
Appreciate this, Matt. Thanks for the time.